What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this series, this brand new series on creating an MMORPG. So this is episode number 2, and if you've already seen the first episode, I kind of gave like a rundown on what I'm working on. Well, in today's episode, we're going to be going over actually creating these sidebars. So if you remember from our Illustrator file, I have these bars over here, and that's what we're going to be creating today. So obviously the icons and the colors are different, but it's the same idea. So this is what I had in mind, and this is what we built in this episode. So stick around, it's gonna be cool. This is what we're working with right now. And so in this video today, I'm just going to be building this part. So this is the design that we're working with. And if you didn't see what the last game looks like, this is what it looks like now. And this game is available if you guys want to go to the site right here, just timeofcastles.com, and you can create a free account if you just go like register for free. You can put in all that stuff and then get the verification email or whatever else if you wanted to try it out. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to be working on this part of it. So here I decided I would probably just work on this sidebar. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started on building these first. So here I'm just going to be working I have a div already set up for the page left right here. So I'm actually just going to be working inside of that page left. And we're just going to build one of these. It shouldn't take too long to actually build one of these because there's not very much involved. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and set that up. Like in terms of naming conventions and stuff like that, as you can see, I kind of, PL is just for page left. So I kind of, to separate things and make sure you don't repeat things, I just put the normally 2 or 3 letter abbreviation and then a dash so that I can separate things, because you see I'm using option here also. So this is HD, which is the header. And then I have the page left option so that I just don't mess things up when you're styling or naming your classes. And then I try and keep everything as organized as possible on your actual CSS page. So in this case, you know, putting a bunch of spaces in between each group that you're doing and then just naming it, titling it so you can find it a lot easier when you're working. So we will define that page option, and for now we'll just say we'll give it height of 40, a width of 60, and a background of just white for now, just so we can see this actually show up on our screen, which we don't right now. So I just first want to give my actual page left some styling. So this doesn't really need a width or anything like that. We're just going to give it a position. Well, actually, I think should be fixed, or it's not fixed yet. So we're going to position fix this, and then we're going to give it, in this case, the width we'll just set to auto, and then the height will actually be, if you look, our header is 50 pixels tall, and our footer is 30. So total is 80. So what we're going to do is actually do a little bit of a dynamic height here, and we're going to say it's 100% height minus 80 pixels. I'm just going to give this a background so I can see it. So now you can see what this actually looks like. The panels there, obviously it's overlapping, and we have the white there because that's the little box we made. So now, in this case, it's position fixed already, so all we really need to do is just do a top of 50 pixels because that's the header. So there we go, now it lines up nicely. So we have that piece there. Now what we can do is just go ahead and get rid of that background because we know it's in the right spot now. And now these things are all going to be positioned absolute. But then we're just going to go ahead for now and just give this a bottom of 10 pixels. So we're just going to place that almost at the bottom. So proportionally, it looks like it's fairly close to what we want. So if you want to give the background of that an opacity, you can use RGBA. And then if you want to make it white, it would be 255 3 times, and then give it an opacity of like, 0.3 or whatever. I'm not even sure what I actually made it in here. So it's 20% here. So just to be accurate, we could do 0.2. But we want that icon now. So I'm just going to go ahead and save out a few different icons that we can use for these panels. All right, so I just saved out a few icons, actually only 2 right now, just because I realized that I don't actually know what icons I'm gonna need, so I just saved out a couple that I figured I would need, and then I'll just reuse, other ones that I have for now temporarily until I make new icons or figure out which ones I wanna use. So yeah, I just saved out the new leaderboard icon and the explore icon, which is like a compass thing. So now over here, we can actually add that image to our little div that we made right there. We'll jump into our index page. And so inside of our panel option here, all right, so I'm going to use this div here. I'm just going to rename it to bar because that makes more sense. So PL option bar. So we're going to jump in and we're going to style this. So the PL option bar, we're just going to give this also, well, this would have a position absolute, and we're just going to give this a right of 0 and a top of 0, and then we'll give it a height of 100%, and then a width of, let's say 10 might be 5 pixels. And then for now, just give it a background of, we could say white for now, or sorry, black. And so we can make that a little bit thicker, and actually it's pretty hard to see. I'm just going to make it white. And we'll make this like 8 pixels instead. Okay, so we could go a little bit smaller. I'm kind of nitpicky about the sizing. So yeah, that looks like it'll work. And then what we can do to style that up, well, actually what we'll do first is we can grab that color that we used, which I'll just grab a color I already used in here. So this is the yellow. We'll use this color. So we'll go ahead and grab that and paste it in here. So you can see that that's coming together a little bit there. Now we want to go ahead and add a box shadow, and actually I defined a class already. So all I have to do is just do a shade out, and that will give us a nice little shadow right there, so it looks like it's kind of popping out more. And then what we can do is go ahead and put our actual image inside of this. And what we're going to do is actually put or I guess we'll have to float the image. So we'll use the leaderboard one, and we're going to have to float this image next to the P tag we're going to put in with the actual title, because what's going to happen here is on our design, it's going to look like this normally, but then when you hover over it, it'll slide out and it'll show the name of what it is. So we're going to hop back over here, and we're just going to throw that image in there for now, and see if I do this now, because it's an SVG, it's going to, well, it sizes to the container. So we have to go ahead and just give that a style. And so I'm just going to, we don't even really need to give it a class because I'll just use the PL option image. So we'll go in here and we'll just define right in here PL option image. And so here we'll give this a height of, let's say 30 or maybe 25 pixels. And then you don't need to define a width because it'll just automatically set the width so that the image is proportional. And then we can go ahead and we're gonna have to float this left later. Let's give this a margin top for now of, well, it'll be half of 15. We're gonna make this an even number so it's easier. So we'll say 8 pixels margin top. So that should center it vertically. So it's pretty much centered vertically. And then now I just need to center it horizontally, which I'm not going to center it perfectly. I'll probably just do a margin left 10 pixels. So now we want to get a cool effect in this now, where we essentially edit the width in this case, which I'm hoping this will work correctly. Actually, I might end up changing the structure a little bit because I'm thinking about the best way to do this. But if we wanted to get a nice effect from this, we could essentially add a PL option, or yeah, PL option hover. Make sure you add a transition here. So if you want to add a transition, we would do this right here, and then we define what style we want to transition. So let's say we wanted to do the width in this case. So right now the width is set to 52 pixels, but what this transition will do is allow it so that when we change the width, in this case when we hover over the item, we want to change its width. So we could then set its width to 100 pixels, and now if we do this, see how that works? So it's pretty simple to set up these animations. I mean, you give it an easing equation, so you can do like ease, ease in, out, ease out. There's a bunch of other ones too that you can do, and then of course just defining the amount of time it takes. So if you did 1 second, then obviously it'd be really long. So I find that 0.2 is pretty smooth. It's nice. It's not too slow. It's like pretty quick. So we'll add the text in right now. So we'll give this a float left because we're going to have to put the text next to it. So what we're going to do is float left, and then we'll say that we're going to add an H2 tag or something in there. So we'll say PL option H2. We'll give this a font size of 18 pixels for now. And actually, yeah, let's just see what happens when we put that in there. So we'll put that right here, and we'll just do, we'll type in leaderboard here. So it does fit, it fits in there, which is good. All we need to do now is we could actually position, I'm trying to think, so the best idea would probably be, all right, so I think I'm going to actually use a different technique for this. So what we're going to do is actually take the H2 that we made and not put it inside of this, but we're going to put it inside of our bar. And the reason we're going to do that is because we're already moving our bar when we go like this, in and out. So we might as well just put the text inside of this, because what we're going to want is the text to basically slide over with the bar when it closes. So if that's the case, what we can do is take our H2 and we can just open up this div that we made for that sidebar and put it in there, and we'll see it's going to look a little funky right now, but we can see it's moving with the bar now, which is what we wanted. So now what we can do is go ahead, and if you want to center text vertically, if it's only one line, then you can, I would recommend just using line height. But if you're using multi-line, it's going to look a little weird. But 40 pixels is the height, so if we just do the line height as 40, then it should be pretty centered. I mean, you can always tweak it depending on the font that you're using, because some fonts are a little different. But in this case, so that's where it lines up now. So really all we have to do is, I mean, you could either give it a margin left. I would recommend in this case just positioning it absolute, and giving it a right in this case of 100%. So you can see now that it pushed it all the way over there, and right 100% just means that it's going to push it from the right 100% of the div that it's inside of width. So it's just going to push, make sure that that thing is sitting 100% from the right. So that's why it's sitting right there. And if we want to go ahead and just clean that, I mean, obviously we'll want to add like a little bit more of, I wonder why 110, oh right, because it's just so small, that's why it didn't look like it moved, but it moved a little bit. What we can actually do is do a calc on this, so we can do 100% plus, if we wanted 10 pixels, we could do that. Now what we're going to do is we can go ahead and add a, well, firstly, let's get rid of this when we go away, because we don't want it there obviously when we're not zoomed in. So pretty simple to do that too. We add to our H2, we want to add an opacity of 0. So if we go and do this now, see it's gone. You just can't see it. So what we do is when we hover over this, we actually want to add a transition effect to this, just like we did with our option to open it. We want to add one here, but for the opacity, and we'll do the same 2.2 and with an ease, and then of course just add now to that the PL option. So we want it to happen when you hover over the option. So we still do the option, but then we're going to jump inside and select the PL option. Or in this case, actually don't need to do that. Oh, I was just gonna change this to op bar because that's what it's inside of now. And then this, we can just say, yes, we want the PL op bar H2, and we want to set its opacity to 1. So now you can see when we actually hover, it'll open and fade in the text and then fade it out when we let go. So it looks like it's pretty good. I feel like it should be a little bit longer. So we're going to just increase that width. Maybe we could jump to 60. I think that'll work actually. And so we can then center that and then go ahead and just move that over a little bit more. So right now it's got a margin left of 15, but we can go ahead and actually move that over, and that actually I think looks good. And then of course if we wanted, because we're kind of losing space here now in between these, so what we can do is just go ahead and increase the height that we actually go to. So if we increase it to like say 170, that gives us another 20 pixels to work with, which is, it's pretty good there. And so now it's pretty cool because all you have to do is copy and paste like these options, and you could jump in here. Well, they're all sitting on top of each other because I didn't actually change their position. So in this case, if you want to manage positions on these, you wouldn't be positioning these here. So right now it's bottom 10 pixels is what's actually positioning it. So we know all these are going to be on the left, so we'll add a left of 0 to make sure they're always on the left. But in this case, if we wanted to go ahead and style each of those individually, you could just use nth of type. I like using that one, and you just have to make sure that they're in the correct order. So if you were working from bottom to top, which in this case I might just work from bottom to top since I'm not actually starting all the way at the top here, it'd be nice if I could just work my way up the side. But either way is fine. So just remember what order you do them in so that you can just make sure you type in everything correctly. So I'm just gonna get rid of this here. So now if I, duplicate this a couple times, do 2 and 3, and let's just say, so they're 40 pixels tall, so we wanna do, let's say 10 pixels in between, so we'll do 60 and 110, and we'll see, so there we go. We've got our 3 buttons there. And then of course you can go ahead and add other icons and stuff like that. I'm just gonna go and adjust these up a little bit, give them a little bit more space. Yeah, so this is what that looks like so far. So I think that's actually pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and change up the icons, and if we just throw in explore, and we'll do the explore icon, and then we'll do shop, and I don't have a shop icon yet, but we'll just use like my crystals icon that I'm proud of. So this is what we have, and it looks pretty sweet. So we could vary the colors too, obviously, and for the colors you would do the same thing I just did with the nth of type, because you would want to obviously just color them in order. So in this case you wouldn't use nth of type, like you wouldn't type in PL op bar nth of type 1 and so on. So if I found the background that I put in, which is right here, if I copy this, you'll notice if I paste it here, you would think it would just do the first one, but it won't, because so what it's saying is the nth of type inside of the div. So obviously inside of its container, it's the only one inside of its container. So all of these are considered number 1. So what you have to do is actually access the PL option and then access the bar inside of it. So what we would do is we would basically copy the code we wrote, or let's just copy this for now, and then paste that here, and then get rid of this nth of type. And now you'll notice that the background will disappear on these 2, and will still remain on this 3rd one here. And then of course just duplicate that twice, and you can add a 2 and a 3 on those, and then go ahead and vary the backgrounds. Save that, and then you'll see you have all your different colors, which is super cool. So it's awesome that we haven't even done any JavaScript. We've literally just been editing CSS, which is super cool because I can pretty much build like this whole layout almost without messing with any script right now. So yeah, guys, it's pretty sweet. We've got our awesome animating button things in here. Check it out. This is what I made. So
very cool.
Showing people.
How did we live without this before?
All right, guys. Well, this was super sweet. I'm going to go ahead and just add a few more of those because I wanted to have like the full design that I have here. Obviously, I don't have all the icons, so I'm just going to reuse a bunch of random ones and like throw in a few different colors or whatever. And set up our final product for this episode. All right, guys, so we have finished up. I just like went through and copy and pasted a bunch of these. So I have a bunch of different colors, a bunch of different like locations. And when we hover over them, we get all of our cool little names and titles and pop out things. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching episode number 2 in this brand new series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I feel like this was like super productive. If you guys aren't too familiar with like HTML and CSS stuff, then this was awesome. Like just setting up like some basic, I mean, you know, these are just like really useful basic buttons to use on any kind of site that you're doing. So yeah, anyways, guys, if you're liking the videos, please leave likes below. That really helps me out. And also if you have questions or comments, leave them below as well. And make sure to subscribe. There should be a little link right here on the top left with my face on it. So just click on that and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any videos. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.